Hello everyone, my name is Sergio, and in this video I'm going to explain my answers about the 4 questions for this first activity of the material design course. Let's start. Okay, the first question, what was the conception of materials development decades ago? As we can find in the text, for many decades the development of materials was simply the production that accompanied a wide range of learning research to illustrate methods. However, things have started to change due to the teachers' awareness of 2 issues. First, the enormous production in the interest of methodologies and materials used for teaching. And second, the importance of including student voices to update teaching materials. Okay, the second question is, what does developed materials demand from teachers? My first is the design of materials to improve the pedagogical practices of teachers involves reflection and practice. This means that knowing and non-will are not enough. It must be applied and done with the same energy. Okay, the second one is reflecting on the teaching process is vital in the quest to develop materials that meet students' learning goals and styles, preference and expectations. In fact, the teachers must reflect on classroom research and in their methodologies the unique paths for their students. Okay, the third one is teacher must dedicate a lot of time to demanding task of building, deconstructing and reconstructing their daily pedagogical practice as a means to face decision making, improve their teaching performance, innovate in their classes, and develop professionally. The fourth demand is the students learn at particular speed and succeed in different manners. Teachers should consider this diversity when teaching the target language and when developing their materials, trying at the same time to keep a balance among students' language learning process and needs, and their preference, motivations and expectations. Okay, the fifth demand is an essential element of success in the process on the classroom is the possibility for the class to be an opportunity to learn and the students to find learning enjoyable. For this reason, teachers must create materials to promote pleasant learning settings because the students needs motivation, interaction and long time to learning. And the final demand is the effective application of the materials used for the language teaching in the classroom. These conditions depend of the materials and the task proposed in the class for the teachers, with the needs, interests, expectations and motivations for the learners. In other words, teachers must do their best to develop the most effective, appropriate, and flexible materials for their students and their programs. The third question is, what are the components of creating and adapting didactic learning materials? Okay, and in this picture we can see the components of creating and adapting didactic learning materials. So the first is the component A, needs assistant. It's a central ingredient for developing materials in the use of the procedures, because it involves a set of aspects that decides teacher decision making that will most probably help both students and teachers achieve meaningful and effective teaching and learning settings. The point B, setting goals and objectives, it's another significant aspect that must be dealt with when developing materials, is the setting of learning goals and objectives. The point C, conceptualizing content and designing a syllabus. And this point, it's the third component. This component have the incorporation of language aspects and language learning development procedures that are very important for the course and the student progress. The point D, selecting and developing materials and activities. This is one of the points to unify the process of the first, the second, and the third point, because in this point it's making effective and opportune decisions for their student benefit. A proper selection of activities must consider a range of factors such useful for the interest, needs, and expectations for the students. The E point, organizing content and activities. In this point, both content, materials, and activities could be structured in three different ways, as construction, recycling, and sequence or matrix approaches. This point, it's a sequence that must be accomplished within a specific period. Okay, the next point, the point F, evaluation. The evaluation is a constant process, and so must be carried out during the ongoing lessons. This point suggests that any moment is effective, or it's a very good moment for the teacher to check what students have understood and how much they have been able to apply. And the final point, point G, research and constraints. In this point, teachers have to adapt the tangible or intangible givens and lacks of their teaching situation. And finally, the last question is, in your opinion, what is the principal role of the teacher when designing language learning materials? I consider that the fundamental and main role of the teacher when designing learning materials is to ensure that their materials are forceful and consistent with the learning environment in which they are developing the teaching and the second language and actively involved in its application. Okay, that is my presentation. Thank you for watch and see you in the next time. Bye bye.